All right, welcome to the non-fan challenge, Garth Brooks edition. This is where I look at 10 different songs by a musician that I'm not a huge fan of and decide which one is actually my favorite song. And if possible, I determine if I might actually like the song. Now, Garth Brooks is sort of an interesting challenge here because I don't hate Garth Brooks as much as some people might think, even though I often don't like country music. But, I don't hate him as much as some people I know hate the guy for his music. So it's not like I'm a brutal anti Garth Brooks person. But nevertheless, he is a pop country star. And, if I'm going to listen to country, it's usually going to be more like, the Johnny Cash kind of thing. That's that kind of deal. Or maybe some alt country, some country rock, maybe, perhaps. I don't know. But anyway, the main event, what you came here for. Um, Basically, The Thunder Rolls is when I started this challenge, I knew that would be the song to beat. It's probably the best that he has to offer. And of the 10 YouTube songs that were played, I have to admit that this one still won. It's still the best of the bunch. But interestingly enough, there were some songs that actually kind of challenged this one's domination a little bit. I'll get more to that later. So I this song, The Thunder Rolls, it has some slide guitar. I often can appreciate slide guitar. And the guitar in the track even gets a little heavy in parts. It's not that bad, really. This is the closest to a musical adventure out of all of the 10 tracks. So that's basically the notes that I wrote down for this one. All right. So the Thunder Rolls is basically still the closest thing to a Garth Brooks track that I would actually, listen to on a more regular basis. I'm not saying it's like something that I absolutely love, but it's actually okay. And I'll actually probably listen to it at some point in the future. All right? Just so you know. Because the point of this challenge is almost like to force myself to find at least one song by the band or artist that I could listen to, on a willing basis. And it's a hell of a challenge, all right? So song number 2 is Shallow, which was a duet version with Garth Brooks and Trisha Yearwood. I meant duet. I said it kind of like do it. But anyway, this one starts out with Tears from Heaven-ish acoustic guitar stuff. It's better than expected, but it just does not dethrone the Thunder Rolls. I would say Garth isn't afraid to have distorted, even heavy guitar riffs, which, kind of gives him a slight edge, I suppose. But it's not really enough to save the track, in my opinion. So how about his other hit that I'm more familiar with, Friends in Low Places? Now YouTube played the live version for whatever reason. So it loses a major point for having the F-bomb in the title, the word friends. I know somebody who can't stand that word, and I partially agree with him. Like, I don't throw it around that often either. I agree that it's sort of an overused word, and it's often rendered meaningless. It's typically disingenuous, like far more often than it should be. So, yeah, it loses a point for that alone. And I would say the Merkins does a horror parody version of the song that is far superior because it has the Leatherface Texas Chainsaw Massacre themed lyrics. So if I am going to listen to a version of this song, it's actually going to be that one. That's going to win in a landslide. So in this version, in this live version, Garth Brooks makes a big deal out of saying "kiss my ass" in the non-radio format, which is cute. Still not an amazing tune, but I don't hate it as much as some people I know do. And again, that's pretty much true about Garth Brooks in general, I would say. Yeah, I'm not as reactionary against country as some people are. So on to track 4, She's Every Woman. This is a live version as well. So this one, I gotta say, it's boring, okay? It's like a James Taylor impersonator, and I say that because I find James Taylor boring. There are a few cool steel guitar lines, so I mostly focused on those when I was listening to it, but it's not like it was that innovative of a track or anything. So on to track 5, Beaches of Cheyenne, also a live version. I would say musical country cliches abound, but at least the song tells a story, which is actually a plus. A lot of songs don't even try to do that anymore. And I think, from what I recall of this track, it's actually it's enough to win points just for that alone compared to some other ones. So for my notes for the track "If Tomorrow Never Comes," I just put meh. I know that's kind of a lame note for me to put down, but that just about sums it up as far as that song goes, as with me. So track 7 is called "The Summer," also a live version. Basically all of these were live. So this track's interesting because it has some more thunder and lightning references. I think he was trying to sort of remind us of that song or something like that. But it's nowhere near as good as the Thunder Rolls. It's not even a terrible song, but it just doesn't grab me. The River, I really didn't put any notes for that one. So I know some people, when I mention this challenge, they're like, "Oh, you might like The River," but it just had no impact on me. I mean, what can I say? Then there was The Dance, which is the 9th track that I listened to. So Garth says The Dance is his favorite song he performed. So it's apparently meaningful for him, so that's cool. But again, I just didn't really have any notes for it. Nothing really came to mind, so it's obviously a bit of a dud track as far as I'm concerned. So track number 10 is kind of interesting. It's called "The Fever," and it's a live version, of course. So this one is actually relatively close to knocking the Thunder Rolls out of the top spot. It's more of a country rock tune. It's a little corny, but whatever. I would say none of these songs are that terrible, especially by modern pop standards. There's a pretty cool fiddle solo, actually, and it's a bit of a barn burner track, I guess you could say. At least as much as Garth Brooks can get into that terrain. So, I think The Fever is about as solid a contender to dethrone the Thunder Rolls as I'm likely to find. I find it hard to believe that he's done anything under his Garth Brooks country persona. I know he's got that one lame, like, rock star persona. What was it, Chris Gaines or something, that he tried and nobody seemed to like it. So he obviously he reverted back to just plain old Garth Brooks, I guess. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, I guess, is what some people might say about that. So anyway, now that that's out of the way, I am going to do some basic bio information about Garth Brooks. So Garth Brooks also co-wrote some songs with or performed with many artists, as you might imagine, but he's mostly known for, his more solo material. Originally started as more of a rock music fan, but apparently decided to go into country after hearing the music of George Strait. So I might eventually end up listening to George Strait as well, to do one of these challenges, but that remains to be seen. Although Alan Jackson rejected the UK after getting bad press attention, apparently Garth Brooks received it all in stride when he was kind of critiqued in the press. It, to me, indicates that he's a good sport and not too thin-skinned, which may very well be a part of his own success. And, I have to say, while listening to some of his onstage banter and seeing him on Saturday Night Live, I gained a bit of respect for his self deprecating humor, which in turn probably augments my ability to appreciate his music on some basic level. Another person like that would be Bon Jovi. Not a huge fan of his music by any means, but he seems like a good guy. I'll just put it that way for now. But anyway, back to Garth Brooks. He's also done some charity work, which is obviously not a strike against him. For example, in 2013, he joined Toby Keith, Carrie Underwood, and other country superstars for a benefit concert for victims of the 2013 Oklahoma tornadoes. And god damn it, I hate to give Toby Keith credit for anything, but I guess he deserves some for that too. So, here's getting a little bit into the early life of Garth Brooks. Now, he actually has kind of a Troil is his first name. He and his father are the only people I know of who have the name Troil. Not Royal, but there's a T in front. But anyway, Troil Brooks was born on February 7th, 1962 in Tulsa, Oklahoma, the youngest of 5 children, the son of the aforementioned Troil Raymond Brooks Jr. and Colleen McElroy Carroll. Given that he's a country superstar, his childhood interests probably included horses. He released an album called Fresh Horses, for example. And, maybe he was into rodeos and pickup trucks. He has a song called Good Ride Cowboy, which easily conjures mental images of a professional rodeo cowboy. I have a typo here that left out the Y and said cowboy. Is that like Taibo or Taekwondo done by cowboys? I don't know. But anyway, it's just a funny little typo that I made. His album No Fences features 2 of the tracks I am most familiar with. The Thunder Rolls and Good F's and Low Places, or whatever that one's called. I can't remember the title offhand. Brooks has yet to star in a cheesy sitcom where he somehow became the principal of his town's elementary school. Though he was into football, basketball, and track and field in high school, so maybe he could star as the quirky new country superstar coach in some school, do a Reba sitcom kind of thing. Like I'm seeing some potential for him to do that. So anyway, I don't really obviously take this very seriously. It's just, for the fun of it, basically. Hopefully I was at least mildly entertaining. I know I'm probably annoying, but who gives a shit?